He made it look effortless. Soaring his way up climbs was easier to him as breathing. He is regarded as the greatest climber ever in the sport of cycling and natural talent. So it's only natural we would honour his memory with moments that amazed us with his rare talent we mortals would kill to have. Starting at number 10 we have the Tour de Suisse. We're going to look at stage 8 on this one, where he won up the Flumserberg, and that was in front of the Swiss rider Alex Zülle, who would be the runner-up of the whole race, and also in front of the Russian rider that would end up winning the whole race, that was Pavel Tonkov. This would then prove that the 25-year-old climber at the time really had what it takes to win big in the mountains of the Grand Tours. The climb up to the finish of the Flumserberg was in Pantani's favour, as it is just about the same length as his record-breaking climb up Alpe d'Huez, where the length of the climb is about 10 kilometers long and has an average gradient of 9% and with a maximum being 13. We'll move on to the Giro d'Italia of 1994. This will be on stage 14 of the Giro. We enter the Dolomites. It was the final climb of the stage, the Passo di Monte Giavo, where Marco Pantani finally had the freedom to pursue a stage win. During the stage, he attacked, caught and passed all the breakaway riders, and there was nothing the Maglia Rosa group could do to stop him. At the end, Pantani won the stage 14 seconds ahead of Gianni Bugno, the Tour machine Miguel Indurain and Claudio Capucci, clinching his maiden professional victory, and in the process it moved him up 6 places in the GC. The 2000 Tour de France was Pantani's first appearance at the race since his triumph in 1998. Marco Pantani was not the same rider, and the big name on the start line was defending champion Lance Armstrong. It wasn't until stage 12, which finished at the top of Mont Ventoux, before Pantani made his mark. Pantani was behind an elite group of 6, which included Jan Ullrich and Armstrong, but the icon managed to close the gap with about 5 kilometers to go. Pantani surprised everyone and launched several attacks where Heras was the first to respond, but Pantani was not content and upped the pace more again and tried to break the elastic. After a flurry of attacks, Pantani had finally dropped the group, and it was only Lance Armstrong who managed to bridge the gap. But Pantani took the win at the finish of the Bold Mountain, and Armstrong said he regretted giving the Pirate the win, but the performance from Pantani was one for the ages, and it was his penultimate hurrah of his career. Back to the Giro d'Italia of 1998. This time we're on stage 19. Pantani won this stage. They had a length of 149 miles long, riding for nearly 8 hours, finishing up the climb that was the Plan di Monte Campione. He attacked at the last 3 kilometers of this stage in the usual Pantani fashion, in the drops and down like a sprinter, resulting in a lead of nearly 1 minute against his rival Tonkov. In 1997, Pantani's return at the Tour de France was incredible. He had recovered from a serious injury that left him 2 years out of competition after a head-on collision with a car. By the end of stage 8, Pantani was suffering in the GC, down at 7 minutes and 17 seconds on the Maillot Jaune. Stage 13 was the pinnacle of his Tour de France, taking a win on the mythical Alpe d'Huez, and it will be remembered as something extraordinary, one of the fastest times recorded in Tour de France history, at 36 minutes and 53 seconds. The feat earned him a place on the podium, moving him from 5th place to 3rd place in the general classification, after finishing 47 seconds ahead of Jan Ullrich, the holder of the Maillot Jaune. Stage 15 was another mountain stage with the Tour, with the Tour favourites of the Galibier and Madeleine as the focal points, and the finish of the stage was at the top of the 22.2 kilometre Courchevel. Since the early kilometres of the stage of the Galibier, there had been a breakaway front. Pantani attacked early in the final ascent, and only Armstrong and a few others could hold his wheel. But eventually it is just Armstrong and Pantani once again, as they hover up all of the breakaway riders, and Pantani passes the remaining breakaway riders without Armstrong, who arrives 50 seconds after Pantani on stage 14 of the Giro d'Italia in 1998 to Piancavallo. Pantani's team was setting the pace, and Pantani had not won a stage since 1994. Pavel Tonkov was the only rider that was able to follow Pantani's initial acceleration. Tonkov was dropped on the steep climb. Pantani managed to take the stage win and finish 13 seconds ahead of the Maglia Rosa, Alex Zülle and even Tonkov. Pantani recorded a time of 36 minutes and 20 seconds of climbing, which is still the record to this very day. The 1995 Tour de France. Pantani suffered in the first week as he finished 105th in the opening prologue. and then 55th on stage 8, which was a 54-kilometer time trial, won obviously by the tour machine Miguel Indurain. And Pantani was 7 minutes and 51 seconds down on the Spanish superstar. Despite the slow start, Pantani climbed up the GC on stage 9 up the La Planche, but his first explosive performance was on stage 10, which finished up Alpe d'Huez. Pantani attacked the yellow jersey group repeatedly and soloed up the iconic mountain, and he put in a 1 minute and 24 minutes into Miguel Indurain and Alex Zülle. Pantani climbed the 13.8 kilometer Alpe d'Huez in an incredible record of 36 minutes and 40 seconds. This record remains the fastest ascent up the legendary mountain. In the process, Pantani also moved up 7th in the GC after that. The Giro d'Italia of 1994 at stage 15 was a hard prospect, as the stage included the Stelvio, the Mortirolo and the Vallico di Santa Cristina. On the Mortirolo, Pantani attacked and passed the crest alone. Pantani's ascent up the Mortirolo was incredible. Pantani managed to drop the Maglia Rosa wearer on the slopes of the Mortirolo. Pantani smashed the record with a time of 42 minutes and 40 seconds, averaging nearly 17 kilometers an hour up the terrifying climb. Pantani was in a small elite group alongside the reigning two-time Giro Tour champion Miguel Indurain, but the Italian attacked Indurain on the Vallico di Santa Cristina. The following descent gave the cycling world a masterclass in descending from Pantani. He attacked and soloed the Aprica. Miguel Indurain finished 3 minutes and 30 seconds after Pantani, and Berzin came in half a minute later. Pantani then had elevated himself to second place in the GC. He would finish in this position at the end of the whole race, behind Berzin. And now we're finishing off this countdown with the Tour de France at stage 15 in 1998. Pantani threw his whole Tour de France on the line with an attack that many riders would deem suicidal because of the rain. Pantani attacked so fast that no one could go with him, and as the climb progressed, the suffering of Ulrich began. Pantani passed the Galibier with 2 minutes and 29 seconds over Ulrich. On the descent, he was accompanied again by other cyclists, including Christophe Raniero, Rodolfo Massi and Fernando Escartin, and the advantage then was increased. At the start of the final climb of the stage, that was Les Deux Alpes, Pantani's lead over Ulrich was already more than 4 minutes. On the climb, Pantani attacked again and reached the finish line alone. Pantani crossed the finish line first after his incredible effort, and Bobby Julich was second in the general classification. He arrived 5 minutes and 43 seconds after. And the defending champion, Jan Ullrich, arrived at an abysmal 9 minutes later, losing the yellow jersey to Pantani. And it was then, of course, Pantani fulfilled his dreams of being a Tour de France winner. And that's all we have for Marco Pantani, one of the most amazing talents we've seen in a generation. Please like the video if you've enjoyed it. Make sure you do subscribe to us if you haven't. And next to it is the bell icon. Please give that a click so then you can be notified when we post new content every time. Well, that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a nice day.